We talk about the crowd. Obviously, we weren't there, and you always hear from people who are in the room who say that the crowd is a lot louder and more into things than you realize. I thought, and maybe I'm completely wrong, because I was watching it on my TV, streaming it off Bleacher Report, I actually thought the finish of the next match and everything leading up to the finish with the mask may have been something that it sounded like here at my house was killing off the crowd.
Well, I heard this pay-per-view better than any other AEW pay-per-view that I've watched because I was sitting here at my computer listening on the headset. And that gives you better audio than watching on TV, even though I've got the surround sound, the speakers or whatever, because it's blocked everything else out. And I can hear some guys calling spots. They probably need to have a talk about some of that. But you could hear a lot more of the oomps and ahs. I actually heard the commentary, unfortunately. There was nothing that I could really do about it. But you do hear the crowd better, and you could tell the places where they were really lit up and really hot, and you could also tell the places where they were like, all right, checking their watches. There was an element of that in the Minneapolis street fight. Checking their watches, how much more of this can happen? But it really, the start of the downhill slide was, I didn't like FTR's match. I'll say that right off the bat. It wasn't their fault. We'll get into it. But the finish of that match was just fucking, I actually wrote down, is this sabotage? Which is the way that we down in Kentucky say sabotage.
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 You say sabotage. I say sabotage.
We say sabotage. You say sabotage. But they're being sabotaged. There is no way, whether you like the Lucha Brothers or not. If you like the Lucha Brothers, you like this match. If you don't, which I have seen FTR against as many luchadors as I want to see, it's a complete opposite style from theirs, and it's not doing them any good at all. But the finish of that match was ludicrous, and whoever called for it, whoever laid it out, whoever was there a walkthrough that somebody could see how rotten this was going to turn out in advance and made them do it anyway? I don't have an answer for that. So you want to get into the tag match?
Let's get into the tag match.
Let's get into the tag match. We saw FTR have the match with, who was it? Samurai Del Sol and, oh God,
what was the other guy's name?
His name is the name of a vehicle. A minivan. No, Aerostar.
Aerostar. Is that a minivan?
I think it is.
Oh.
Anyway, it was rotten because FTR had to stand there and wait for them to get their shit together to do all of their contrived gymnastics. The Lucha Brothers are a little bit better at the contrived gymnastics, but FTR are sharp, precise. They have perfect basics. Their excellence of execution. Everything they do is perfectly timed and beautiful to watch. And the Lucha Brothers are all over the place. It's either the gymnastics or the Lucha stuff with no basics whatsoever. Complete opposite team of FTR. And as a result, you can't get a real FTR match out of these guys. But it's better than the Lucha Brothers against anybody else because at least FTR's in there trying. And they also used the corpse referee, Rick Knox, so they had no help at all in trying to make this a wrestling match. It got better when FTR would take over and control the pace a little bit. And at one point they stopped Felix, and I thought they were going to get the heat on him, but he just quickly tagged out. So FTR made it a hot tag through no fault of the Lucha Brothers, because as the guy was just wandering, leaning over, flat-footed, reaching out, Dash makes a run and throws a drop kick and misses it and bounces off the top rope, and then the guy tags. So that made it a hot tag. But the actual tag was bleh. And the Lucha Brothers made a comeback with a forever four-way that they do when the referee stands there like a dumb shit and everybody forgets that they're supposed to be tagging. And after they made the big comeback, they just started a match again. And the Lucha Brothers got the contrived double hold while the referee stood there dumbfounded. And then did you see the part where our friend Penthouse backed Dax Harwood up in the corner, went up for the 10 punches, and hit the buckle and the pad and air and his own forearm and never touched Dax's head? Well, he might have on the first one because the camera angle wasn't really conducive to seeing for sure. But when they got the close-up, it 8 times. It wouldn't have fooled the general admission section. And the announcers went deathly silent, which I can tell you from experience is when you're sitting there looking at the monitor going, oh, I can't say anything. Then they stopped Penthouse for another set of heat. And honestly, these guys don't deserve 2 comebacks in the same match. And they tied Penthouse's mask to the ropes and double boomeranged his head into the ropes and tore the mask free. And there was a false tag where Penthouse tagged Felix, and the distraction was timed fairly perfectly by FTR, and the referee actually did his job. I couldn't believe it. But then Penthouse drops both members of FTR and gives a cold tag to Felix. Nobody was even close to stopping him. And Felix did all his shit. FTR feeds great for this stuff. I will admit, that was a snazzy tightrope walk into a kick on the top rope by old Felix. But there was lots of misdirection. Felix ran into a belt shot. Dax hit a brainbuster 2 count. That would have been a great fucking finish if FTR was going over, which I would have hoped still at this point that they were, that somebody was going to figure this out. So that would have been a great finish, but it wasn't. More false finishes. Tully actually pulled a leg. Nothing happened, but he pulled one of the guy's legs. They did a good spot where Dax went for the 3 amigos, and the people booed, but Penthouse stopped him before he got there, and then Penthouse did it and got a big pop, and then Felix came off with a frog splash and got a 2 count. That would have been a great finish. If the Lucha Brothers were going to win, the place would have come unglued. Then there was more stuff that you couldn't keep track of, and Felix kicked out of the spike pile driver, which is another reason I was thinking, oh God, if they don't win, if FTR doesn't win now, what the fuck? More tags by the baby faces, because now they've lost complete semblance of where the fuck they are, and they're just doing shit back and forth. And it's Felix cross-bodied Cash off of Dax's ass while Penthouse had Dax up in a package pile driver, which he then gave him. He got a 2 count. What a finish that would have been. The people were loving this because they like this fucking car wreck bullshit, but it was the first time that I can ever remember I was waiting for the end of an FTR match. And then that's when they did it. Suddenly, both members of FTR roll out of the ring and go underneath the ring. And whereas Dax had been legal, apparently, now Cash comes back out, but Cash came back out with the green frog mask on where they impersonated a tag team a few weeks ago, right? And the announcers said, well, he's not the legal man. They've switched. All the momentum came to a halt, basically. The Lucha Brothers gave their finish to the illegal man and pinned him flat in the middle of the ring. Without Dax ever coming out from underneath the ring to show that he was wearing a mask too, when he came out, I saw him pulling it off because the 1, 2, 3 had already happened. I don't know what the fuck is going on, and I don't know. Again, did they walk through it? Who forced this finish on them? It was horrible. Why did Dax stay under the ring? Why did they do this at this moment anyway? They each had done 2 or 3 big moves that would have been a spectacular finish for either team to win this thing, and the place would have exploded. But they stopped everything to do this bullshit that wasn't well done. They beat FTR flat in the middle of the ring while they made them look stupid at the same time, it's sabotage. You can't tell me different. Is somebody going to tell me that FTR on a big pay-per-view match said, this is the finish we're going to do? They'll remember this one for 20 years? Fuck. Who is fucking these guys?
Horrible finish. Not just because it was a horrible finish, but it didn't even make sense. Like you said, we never see Dax. I mean, the whole thing was stupid and poorly conceived. But when you think about FTR's booking, and we've had a little bit of a run where they've been booked fairly well. But think about the Young Bucks match. Because I started thinking about it after the finish of this, because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe the Lucha Brothers just beat them. And I like the Lucha Brothers a lot more than you. And I still can't believe they beat them. And I think back to the Young Bucks.
I could believe, I would even accept that they'd beaten them if they'd beaten them with a wrestling finish that they did in the match and got big pops instead of this stuff to make them look stupid and beat them flat in the middle at the same time.
That's the thing. It's the second big match where they had a stupid finish. Because the idea that FTR would decide at that point to go switch Killer Bee style under the ring into masks makes no sense. The Young Bucks match. What was FTR's big slogan for years? No flips, just fists.
Right.
How did they lose that match? Cash does a giant flip off the rope and gets pinned. And I'm like, okay, not the finish I would do because I would have had FTR win, but clearly that sets up match 2. They could talk about, we went away from our game plan, we did a flip. We shouldn't have. No, it was never brought up ever again. And now they did the stupid thing here with the masks. Bad booking of FTR, who were so talented in the ring. Just ask the guys in that company what it's like to work with Dax. So I don't understand what they're doing. I really don't.
I'm again, if somebody can present me evidence to the contrary, then I will be more than happy to admit that I was wrong. But you can't tell me that FTR either came up with that finish or wanted to fucking do it once they heard it. And you can't tell me that anybody thought that that was a good idea that would make them look better in losing, as Darby did in the previous match, or not look. Basically, you can't convince me that somebody didn't do that with the idea of making them look completely like shit and killing the finish of that match. It's not who won, it's how it was done. And that's another thing. And a lot of people don't understand this. You said the booking of FTR lately has been, well, you can book somebody to go over every night and still make them look like a complete idiot if that's your goal and you really want to do it. So winning or losing, or whether they've had a belt or they've been on TV or whatever, if you want to make somebody look like an idiot, or somebody wants to make somebody look like an idiot, you can do it. That's all I'm saying.
And another thing, if you want to do something with FTR, if somehow this is all part of a grand plan where they keep losing big matches by doing stupid things, let the revamp start with a new manager. No disrespect to Tully. Tully's slow. He gets no heat at ringside. FTR needs someone with energy.
He's not allowed to do anything.
And for everyone saying I'm saying Jim Cornette, I'm not. They need someone who can actually work ringside and get some heat.
I'm only 10 years younger than Tully, too. So
yeah.
No, but I mean, you are correct, sir. This is the youth movement of modern era wrestling at AEW. The average age of their managers is in their 60s, right? Who are the managers?
Well, Tully, obviously.
Tully.
Probably closer to 70, right?
Well, I'm just saying Tully, Arn.
Vicky.
Well, Jake, maybe or maybe not. He,
I don't know.
His health, whatever. Alex Abrahantes ain't no spring chicken, as my Aunt Lola would say.
Let's say mid-40s, probably.
Okay.
Mark Sterling's probably 30s.
Well, is he a manager? Is he an attorney? Or is he just a...
Oh, now you're playing the semantics?
Is he something
advisor?
In the way? He's something in the way. He's just something in the way. But
Matt Hardy?
Matt Hardy.
50-something, right?
Gotta be. So there's a bunch of young guys and a bunch of managers about to fucking Callus. who's fairly close to my age. He's in his 50s. So the managers are about to turn to powder. And, but anyway.
This is when you tell Fred Blassie to stay home and you bring in Slick.
I don't know if we need to go that far.
Oh, Slick was good. You didn't like Slick?
Oh, Slick was all right.
The idea, they brought in a character to play a pimp to manage Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik, that he took over the contracts from Fred Blassie. And then you got the ridiculous moments of the interaction. Come here, Slick. My friend Slick. Yeah, your friend Slick. Where are you and Slick hanging out, Freddie?
Hey, Freddie was a ladies' man. So maybe Slick said it. Freddie was a ladies' man. That's very true. But Slick, the only pimp in the world who was actually a preacher in real life.
Well, not while he was pimping. I think it was after he retired from the street.
Well, you know what they say, pimping ain't preaching.
It was hard to be a pimp when you lost a warlord. Can you imagine you're walking around and that's your muscle? Well,
where are we going from here?
Some may say that FTR finish would drive some to drink.
Some may say that. And as a matter of fact, after I watched that match, I was thinking to myself, I can't wait for my monthly delivery of WSJ wine. Folks, we've been talking about them here on the program. Our fine friends at WSJ Wine, they are your key to holiday preparation. You got a dinner party to attend. You need a hostess gift. With WSJ Wine, you are never empty-handed. And I know we've got a lot of winos out there in the cult of Cornette that would like a good quality bottle of wine. If you want to keep your wine rack stocked with new and interesting wines, WSJ Wine from the Wall Street Journal is the best way to find your new favorite wines from all over the globe. They curate these wines, as they say. You can get direct access to the small batch handcrafted wines that you need to try this holiday season. If you're going to have your family, if you're going to have your in-laws, your neighbors and your friends into your house, you got to be sloshed, folks. You got to be pickled. You got to be drunk off your ass so that you don't go crazy and start gouging your relatives' eyes out. So, WSJ Wines presents the Holiday Top 12, the most wonderful wines of the year, and you can uncork all of them and save $125. Each wine includes tasting notes and food pairing tips. Rate your wines, refine your selections. You can even speak to a personal wine advisor so they can customize your next case. It's a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't get drunk off your ass on every bottle of wine in this case, or at least if you don't love it, you'll receive a refund. And you can receive a new dozen from WSJ Wine's most talented winemakers every 3 months at about a bottle a week. You can enjoy at your own pace at about a bottle in an evening. You can get cirrhosis of the liver. But there's no obligation to continue.
Let's not recommend that.
No, we don't do a bottle an evening. No obligation to continue or even to live after you have. You have no obligation. You can do whatever you want. They offer the flexibility to delay delivery, skip a case, cancel any time. You can do whatever you want with this stuff. Folks, all you got to do to try the WSJ Wine Holiday Top 12 and enjoy 2 bonus bottles and 2 wine glasses for $69.99 plus tax and shipping. My God, Seth, that's good heavens. That's pennies a bottle. This is better than Ripple. This is a better deal than, do you know what Ripple and champagne put together is, don't you?
What's that?
Shampipple. You know when you put eggnog and Ripple together, you know what you get?
No.
Egg nipple. Well, folks, right now, 14 bottles of wine, 2 wine glasses, $69.99 plus tax and shipping if you text Jim, J-I-M, to 64,000. That's Jim to 64,000. All you got to do is text Jim to 64,000 and get 14 bottles of wine, 2 wine glasses, $69.99 plus tax and shipping. And holy mackerel, you'll be seeing sunshine, lollipops, rainbows, and waterfalls this holiday season when you're annoying families in the house because you'll be out in the backyard soused to the gills. Terms apply. Available at WSJWine.com/terms.
A wonderful gift, by the way. We just got a WSJ wine package for a couple of our friends for a couple different things, and They're over the moon about it. Great gift.
They're over the moon. Well, one of them's under the porch. The other one's over the moon.
Well, maybe.
But a great deal to get soused for your holidays, folks. WSJWine.com/terms. No, that's where the terms are.
That's where the terms are.
Yes. WSJWine.com is the website, but text Jim to 64,000.
That's right.
And you'll get that deal. Pennies per bottle. A lot of pennies, but pennies.